Ubuntu Linux is a multi-user system, so there can be always 2 or more users. By default, you have the Ubuntu user, which is a regular user, and the root user, ROOT. This is the administrator for a Linux system. So the root user can install software, can add users, delete users, open web servers, basically anything you can do, anything dangerous, the root user can do it. And the Ubuntu user, it can only access this home Ubuntu folder. It can only do regular user things. So if you are, in this case, user Ubuntu, you can log out and log in as root to do things as administrator, or you can type the command sudo and then execute something as root. So if I type sudo, it executes it as administrator, and then it runs the command. You see, now it says that I'm user root. That's because if you type sudo in front of any command, it executes it as administrator. Now, typically, that is password protected, but it's not always the case. So that can be configured. So this is one of these things with security. And let's say we want to change the password of the user Ubuntu. We can type the command sudo passwd Ubuntu, and you'll see it asks us for a new password. We can type any passwords. By default, anything is allowed. Even a password as simple as 123456, Ubuntu Linux is going to accept it. So of course, that's a bad security practice, but Ubuntu Linux doesn't care by default. So Ubuntu Linux has a lot of security features, but it doesn't enforce those by default. You can enforce better passwords in Ubuntu using a package called libpalm-pw quality. So this is not installed by default, but of course you want to have your users use secure passwords. You can do that with this package if you install it. And then it will make a configuration file. So that configuration file is an etc security pw quality. So let's take a look at it. So I'm going to use Vim to edit it, but you can use whatever editor you want. So it's in security and then pwquality.conf. And you'll see we can now configure requirements for the password. So the user cannot pick some stupid passwords where hackers can easily get in. For example, we can set the minimum length. So let's say the minimum length is 10. You simply change this to 10. Then I save it and I quit. Now let's try to change the password again. With that sudo passwd Ubuntu. And I'll try just a password of 1 character. And you'll see it asks us for the passwords to be longer than 10 characters. So that's because we configured it in pwquality.conf. Now there is no limit to this, so we could say maybe the password needs to be at least 32 characters long. And now let's try to change the password again. And you'll see the minimum password now is 32 characters long. So you can make your users pick more secure passwords and by configuring that file. So in that pwquality.conf file. And you can also specify what kind of things should be in here. So should there be a minimum number of characters, for example, digits, lowercase, uppercase, so that they pick a really good password. And maybe a number of times they can repeat the same password. So you can configure all of this. And by default, you see this little dash in front of it. That means it's turned off. So to turn something on, and you want to make sure to delete it, then it's turned on. You'll see the blue characters turn into white. Now it is turned on. And to turn it off, we simply comment it. So you could, for example, check if this password is contained in a crack dictionary, and all kind of things can be configured for the passwords to boost your Linux security.